Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I'm your host, Alecia Jacobson.
Hey, badasses. Welcome to the show today. I don't know what I'm going to say today. I have some kind of rough ideas. I wasn't sure if I was going to record because, quite honestly, I am nauseated and have, like many of you, spent the last week oscillating between rage and extreme sadness. For some of you, this might not be the episode for you, and that's okay. This might not be your episode. This is not going to be my typical content, but I couldn't come on the mic and record something that wasn't relevant to what I feel so many are experiencing right now. And if there's anything about me, it's that I no longer have the ability to put on a different kind of face and just spit something out. I don't have enough fucks left for that. And I don't care to be any other way than how I am. So I am going to show up here because I do think showing up is important. And I do think speaking is important. So that is what I'm going to do. What comes out of my mouth today? I do not know. There might be some tears. I've cried every day, like many of you. So let's get into today. I woke up Wednesday, early morning, 3 a.m., and laid in bed. I checked the time, and I was trying to figure out if I wanted to check and see what the election results were. After laying there for a while, thinking I didn't want to, I finally forced myself to do it. I'm not quite sure how I fell back to sleep after that, quite honestly, but somehow I did. And I woke up to many, many text messages and sat there and tried to figure out how I was going to tell my girls, because I was dumbfounded. I clearly have been unaware of how many people are okay with hate. Like I was shocked. I still am shocked. And I don't know how to square that up. And this is going to be a hard time. And we will put one foot in front of the other and we will figure it out. But I think it is going to be hard. Also, there's no roses and butterflies in this, or is it rainbows and butterflies in this episode? It's not in me. There's one thing, and this is my personal journey, is way back when I was going through my divorce, I did not realize who I was married to when I was married to him. It wasn't until afterwards that I realized the manipulation, the lies. And when I say this, I mean, this was very intentional. This was very methodical. And I'd heard him lie about people that he worked with, just silly things sometimes, like just in conversation, I would hear him say things and just think, well, that's not true. And after I left, I realized that he had been lying about everyone, because now he was telling everyone lies about me. And people were believing him. People in my family were believing the things. And I at first tried to defend myself vigorously. I then got to a point where I realized that's not helpful. But there was one thing I realized and I learned over this extended period of time of having to deal in the court system, in relationships, in all of these ways, is I realized that, well, this is a pattern. I can identify this sort of narcissistic way of a person. And I can see this because I have 10 years of lived experience of noticing this, of seeing how they paint this picture of you to everyone and anyone. And it was so gross. Now it's not something I have to deal with anymore, but it's something that I lived for so long. And then about 3 or 4 years ago in my daughter's school, my daughter went to a private Catholic school. And in this school, we got a new principal. And everyone, not everyone, many people were all up in arms when this new principal came into our school. And I am not one to just take information that I know nothing about. I want to ask questions. It is part of who I am. I want to know more. And I heard what people were saying. I went out and I sought opinions outside of the bubble I was in. He had come from another local public school. And there was a couple of people in that school that I respected greatly. These are people that I'd known for years and years. And I reached out to them. I met with them. I had phone conversations with people just saying, what is it that everybody, because it was almost like they could give concrete answers, but also it was like the narcissism, I will say one thing and then I will do another, or it was very manipulative, what I was hearing. And still I listened. And then we got this letter. I will never forget. I was sitting in a Walgreens parking lot and we got a welcome letter from him. And he was telling about his family. And in reading this letter, I immediately wanted to vomit. And this was just a hello, here is who I am. And in this letter, I felt it. I knew it. I could read it. I could see through it. And then I was on the board at this school, like the PTO. So there was monthly meetings. We had emergency meetings because of the things that it was awful. And I could absolutely see through it. And the reason that I could see through it, the reason that other people were saying, you guys are wrong. Like, he hasn't done anything. Like, what are you talking about? You guys are just making stuff up. You are doing these things. The reason that I was able to see it, the reason I was able to feel it is because I had so many years of lived experience with a person exactly like him. I know how they talk. You can't undo that. And I knew it. And guess what? I was fucking right. And there was like a mass exodus of this school. And there were some that were left. And I only found out recently that after everybody had gone and he had full control, that's when his true colors showed. And that is what I am so sick to my stomach about now. Because at first, I don't know, what was it, 2016? I remember I was leaving my old gym, maybe 2015. And it was just when Trump was coming out saying that he was going to be president. And I was listening. I don't know what news program I was listening to. And I was like, I like this. He speaks he's a straight shooter. Like, this is going to be different. And then I kept listening and then I heard it, and you can't unhear it. And then the just absolute disgusting, vile things that were happening and that were said. And you just know. And now where I'm sitting is that there is going to be unchecked power. And when you have a person like that is fully supported with everyone around them, with no, hey, like, let's look at things differently, that's frightening. And that is where this like nauseating feeling inside of me is coming from. And then I have this other piece that's like, when people show you who they are, believe them. And to have this sort of awareness that it's just ignored, I don't know how you look away from that. It's just in me. This is my Enneagram 8. I have always been a fighter for those people who either can't, don't have the tools, and to have what feels like people just turning their back on people just, I can't wrap my head around it. And I've just been sitting here between like extreme rage, wanting to scream. If you listen to my episode from last week, I talked about protecting your peace. My peace has not been protected very intentionally. And there have been people who have been so outspoken in the beginning, and that is not me. I am a sit back and observe and wait. And I would normally be waiting longer than this before I say anything. Normally I would have recorded days ago, but I was not in a spot to do that. So I have already pushed this very far back. I just don't understand. And one of the things that I truly am baffled by is I've seen a lot of this be kind messaging coming. And that started immediately after on social media. And the wild thing to me is that from what I can tell, the people saying be kind are the people who voted for a person who could not be farther from a kind human. One of the last things that I saw, I watched on the live rallies. And one of the last things, and then I think this clip was replayed over and over again, was him giving a blowjob to a microphone while then saying he wanted to attack or beat the people behind the scenes that didn't have proper audio equipment or something was messed up. And I don't know how that doesn't matter, because what that does, in addition to all of the things that he has done and said about women and all of the other humans in the world that are not white men, is it gives permission to other people to treat people horribly, disgustingly. It gives them permission, because when you have your highest leader doing this, you are granting permission. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. You're not going to get in trouble. You're backed. So when you heard me on here talking about how I had this fear of hiking, well, I am way more fucking afraid now. Permission granted. You fucking do has no consequences. In fact, it's celebrated. And that's so fucked up. So fucked up. I take a boxing class on Thursday, and I haven't been doing it because my long runs have been on Thursday. I have my half marathon tomorrow. And I went there, and it was much busier. I haven't been in a while. It was much busier than normal. And I'm looking around this room, and I started just sobbing because I thought I was in community with people who cared about people. And I'm really struggling to understand how that be kind messaging is caring about other people when you take your vote and put it for somebody who says the most disgusting and vile things about other people. I can't square that up. And I'm looking around, and my whole body started shaking, like uncontrollably shaking. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what we are all collectively feeling of this going out in public and having such extreme, massive distrust for other people. Like, what the fuck is that? I have yet to have a professional say, here's what you're all experiencing. Because we are all experiencing, obviously not all of us, but the people who are in my world are experiencing this collective distrust. We thought one thing, and we were so motherfucking wrong. So motherfucking wrong. And I have some people that are, I want to keep the communication. I want to be able to talk and listen. And I'm too fucking angry for that right now. I'm too angry. And I have just isolated myself because I don't want to listen. I cannot. I am angry. I'm angry. And I'm afraid for what is to come with unchecked power. And I really do feel like I surround myself with enough people that have real conversations, that have experience in all different fucking places in life, and all collectively say, this is not good. And that scares me, because these are the people that I go to, that I say, hey, I've talked on here about, I love to be the problem solver. You got a problem, you'll all solve it. And these are the people that I go to, and they're afraid. And I don't know. This is not one where I have a pretty bow. I don't have a process. I do know that everyone is going to be here differently. I do know that there's many out there like me that are just angry, that are shocked, that can't fucking wrap their heads around this. I know that are some that are like, let's go be the good. We're just going to do good. And we are going to continue being good. And I am not there. am very much not there. I don't fucking care about good right now. I have been good. I don't fucking care. And this is hard when you have people in your world that clearly see things very different than you and don't have an answer for that either. Do not. I don't know what to do about that. And I don't know how to navigate that situation yet. But I do know, I do feel that we all have, when I was in a group of women this last week, and I do feel like each woman knew exactly what she needed and how she needed to process this. And that is where you are. And there's no right way and there's no wrong way. I do know though, if it is overcoming you and you are sitting in it for too long though, probably not healthy. Do know that if you are coping and self-medicating, like I know many are, and you do that for too long, not healthy for you. So taking some time, really thinking, how do you want to proceed? What is most in alignment with you? And maybe some of that's a question mark, because I know that I have a lot of question marks right now. And I've reached out to some people that I am like, this is something that you've maybe experienced before. How do you handle this? Because I don't know. And I think there's just a lot of I don't knows right now. Some people expected this. I 100% did not, which I'm thankful that I didn't have the stress leading up, months of stress. I truly was blindsided. And I think there's just this like, it feels like Eeyore, with his like cloud over him. That's what it feels like. And I don't care to move the cloud right now. I'm very okay being in this dark place. And I think, we will move forward. We will figure it out. When all things come crashing down, you rebuild. And yeah, some things need to be dismantled. However, I don't know how a person that is full of hate is the one to dismantle it. I don't know how that is the chosen. That does not, I don't get that. I don't get that. I do know, if you have listened to me this long, I do know that you are likely a doer, that you are a person who wants to make change for the betterment of all people, regardless. And yes, that means people who did not vote like you. At the very core of it, I do know that. There's a lot of inward right now. But I know that there are the change makers out there. And we will get back to that. I don't know how. But yeah, you are not alone. You are not alone. I think there is great value in finding community right now, selectively as you can, and doing what you need to do. I don't think there is a wrong way to heal and to try to figure out how to move forward and what needs to be done and what hard conversations need to be had. I am not there yet. I will continue to isolate for a while. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this half marathon tomorrow. It just, being out makes me want to vomit. It does. It just makes me want to throw up. So we will see. But my friends that I am running it with, we said, we will figure out how to save the world in these 13.1 miles. So that's what I'm going to go try to do. So I wish you well. I hope that you can find a voice. I hope that you can navigate this in a way that is good for you and healthy for you and those around you. Yeah, I will talk to you next week, and I welcome any of you on my social media. I would love to hear from you, and I hope for you like a weighted blanket. We all just need a weighted blanket and like a cup of hot cocoa there just needs to be like some soothing and some going within to figure out how to proceed forward. And I really do believe that everybody knows what's best for them and how to do that, because in the room when I was in, we were all doing something differently and it was all in alignment with who we were. And I think that is best for all of us, is to figure out our best way forward and making sure that what you are doing, if it is not healthy for you, that you don't stay there too long. And I think whatever that is, that if it is or it isn't, and just don't stay there too long. And I wish you, I don't like hugs, but part of me just wants to wrap everybody up in a collective hug right now because I feel like we're all kind of walking zombies. So this is my hug to you. All right. Thanks.
Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.